Welcome to the show, friend. Years ago, in the early 1980s, I felt very distinctly that the Lord spoke to me in my heart, not an audible voice, but impressed upon me. You know how the Holy Spirit will guide you? That I should never become, in my ministry and in my public work, I should never become a 501c3 tax-exempt organization, because I would not be able to really be involved in the political fights that were going to be critical. And for 30 years, I'm not saying I'm better than anybody else, and I saw the writing on the wall. When my attorney explained to me what I was agreeing to when I filled out the 501c3 paperwork, I thought, I can't do this. I mean, you look at Jeremiah, you look at other prophets in the Bible, they're naming names, all right? They're rebuking kings to their face by name. All right, look at John the Baptist with Herod. Look at the apostles and some of the leaders of that era, and look at the early church dealing with the Caesars. And I just realized I can't do it. Now, by the way, I'm not opposed to 501c3 tax-exempt organizations if they're truly just an educational organization, all right? A school, a high school, fine. Its purpose for existence is truly to teach. But if an organization is raising money ostensibly to fight to end child killing, the only way to end child killing is to elect the right people to office and to throw the wrong people out of office and to get the right laws passed so that it's a crime to kill babies, right? Well, to do that, you've got to name names. If you want to be a force in the political arena, you've got to go after people. And that's exactly what 501c3 tax-exempt organizations have agreed to not do. I got a letter the other day in my inbox that grieved me so much. I'm not going to name the name, but boy, it said, "This man is the most important pro-life leader in America. This organization is doing more for babies than any other organization." And I thought, dangerous words. Really probably not true, because most of the bad guys don't even know who these people are. Just remember that as you watch this program. A man is sometimes known by the enemies he keeps. And if the bad guys don't know who a group is or who a pro-life leader is, then he must not be naming the right names. Ponder it as you enjoy this episode. Notre Dame lost to Bama. And I have to ask, first of all, how many people were praying for Notre Dame and how many were praying against them? And did the Almighty even weigh in? Of course, there were a lot of people that were upset with Notre Dame because, you know it, they stood with Obama. Yes, they mocked the Blessed Virgin Mary, Notre Dame, our mother. They mocked her by having a child killer come and presenting him with an award. And you just have to wonder, will they ever have a winning season again? And is heaven weighing in against them? I don't know. The real question is, how much do the bread and circuses of this hour that have seduced us into being compliant with Caesar, into bowing at Caesar's feet, how much interest does heaven have in those bread and circuses? Well, we know that God says, "Give us this day our daily bread," or the Lord taught us to pray, "Give us this day our daily bread." So clearly bread matters to heaven. But the circuses, that which distracts us. For example, the media world is all a Twitter. Jay Leno and David Letterman and Conan O'Brien are now going to have to go toe-to-toe, same time as Jimmy Kimmel. Lottie freaking da. People, one of the reasons that we have lost the country is because we expend so much energy in bread and circuses. Look at how many fast food places, look at how much entertainment, look at how much time people spend following sports and rock stars and late night entertainers. And then what? What is he saying?
Video games.
Oh, video games. I'm sorry. I've got people talking to me from the other side of the room. At the end of the day, if you want to seduce a republic, the best way to do it is bread and circuses. Now, let's switch gears radically and talk about history for a minute. Yesterday, I spoke about Winston Churchill, Patrick Henry, and William Lloyd Garrison. And if you're a student of history at any level, you would probably have Patrick Henry as a hero, and Winston Churchill as a hero, and William Lloyd Garrison, the foremost leader of the abolitionist movement, as a hero. I know I do. I love these men. I read their works. I read biographies on their lives. I read their words. I take inspiration from them. But what most of us probably fail to assimilate into our mind, and perhaps more importantly, into our emotions, is the cost that they paid to be right, to be prophetic, to speak the truth when people just didn't want to hear it. For example, Patrick Henry, when he made not his "Give me liberty or give me death" speech, but his so-called treasonous speech, that was in 1765, there was discussions about having him arrested for treason. When he gave his "Give me liberty or give me death" speech, and then the war began in earnest, he had a death sentence on his head. If you think about William Lloyd Garrison, did you know that he actually had to flee the country? There were 2 states that put out warrants for his arrest. One state had a $5,000 bounty on his head. $5,000 in the mid-1800s would be like 3 houses, anywhere from $500,000 to $1 million today in buying power. He actually fled to England to avoid being captured. One state legislature said he was the most vile and dangerous person in America. He was castigated. He was hated. He was vilified. He was fleeing for his safety and his life. Winston Churchill, he made speeches against his own party. Okay, remember, in the 30s, he was a conservative member of parliament under MacDonald, then Baldwin, and then Chamberlain. And he made speeches against the leadership, and they ignored him. They vilified him. The press called him a warmonger, a fearmonger. They said he was unstable. They actually forbid him to be on the BBC. He was a very famous broadcaster, and the BBC made the decision, we are simply not going to play any more of Churchill's speeches. Castigated, separated, isolated, degraded. That's what these men endured. Now, I'm going to take a break, but when we come back, I want you to think about yourself. In other words, a lot of times we have this romantic idea that we could and that we should stand up for some just and right cause, as God our Maker would have us do. But because, I don't know if it's because of bread and circuses, I don't know if it's because of our shallow reading of history, I'm not sure if it's because we've lost the sense that our Christianity is supposed to be taking up our cross and dying to ourselves. I'm not sure why, but the simple fact is that we have detached our heroes from the horrific price that many of them had to pay for standing up and saying and doing what was right. So, if you want to be a hero in God's eyes, in the eyes of your children, perhaps in the eyes of some of the people, the oppressed, the downtrodden of this world, you're going to have to ask yourself a question. What price am I willing to pay? Don't go away.